This week, DJI released this, the new Mini 5 Pro, and it wouldn't be a typical DJI product release without either controversy or a gotcha, and once again, DJI haven't disappointed. Whilst there is no doubt the new Mini 5 Pro has some fantastic features, DJI have quietly removed some important wording, such as sub 250 grams, and whilst this drone is still labelled C0, many people are finding that theirs is coming in at over 250 grams, raising questions of what this actually means for you in your country. Now, in this video, I'm going to be giving you an overview of exactly what the situation is with this drone. We're going to be weighing my drone and comparing it to some standardized weight measures, such as this package here. We're also going to be talking about what's going on inside this drone and what could have added that extra weight, but also what games DJI are actually playing. Now, before I get into this one, I just want to say a few days ago on the channel, I actually did a complete live stream teardown of this drone. We unboxed it, we tore it apart. That was very kindly sponsored by Grey Arrows Drone Club. If you're interested in seeing that, please check out the link to that in the description. It's a 2-hour live stream. We will be talking about some of my findings from that later on, but if you want to see the complete teardown, please do check it out. And also check out the link to Grey Arrows Drone Club as well. In the past, DJI have always ensured the Mini series of drones have weighed less than 250 grams so they can fall under a 250 gram less restrictive regulation. Many countries offer benefits to drones under 250 grams, such as the ability to fly them without having to need to register, no need for remote ID, or fly them in congested areas or even over people. Whilst these regulations will vary per country, there has been a somewhat consensus around many countries that sub 250 gets less restriction and requirements than drones over 250, and the DJI Mini series has always massively benefited from this. However, with the release of the Mini 5, things have got a little bit more quirky because DJI have taken away all of the wording around 250, and now they have simply labelled it a C0 drone. As people have got hold of these drones, they have found that their drone actually isn't under 250 grams and it is weighing actually somewhere between 2 and 3 grams more, and DJI have even added this into their specification as a tolerance. Now obviously 2 or 3 grams doesn't sound like a lot, but it is something that is going to make a big difference here when it comes to regulation. First of all though, we need to understand exactly what does 2 or 3 grams look like. Starting with a typical payment amount for a review on your favourite channel, a broken camera module off the DJI O3 FPV system, a 16GB USB memory stick and 2 micro SD cards, about the same amount of DJI Kool-Aid that it takes to ensure a positive product review on your favourite platform, or just under the weight of all 3 of the new ND filters that DJI include with the Mini 5 Pro Fly More kit. So as you can see, 3 grams is quite a lot. Before weighing mine, I just want to be clear in saying that I am not using a set of calibrated or certified scales here. I'm using my bench scales and I'm using a set of salters, which I have on the channel. And whilst I don't have certificates for these, I have done a bunch of testing to ensure that the number we're getting is truly representative. I'm not going to say it's absolutely perfect, but it is within 1 gram as far as I am concerned. Just to prove that, for instance, we have a test weight on my small scales here at 50 grams, and you can see that that is showing 50 grams. And if I pop that onto these scales over here, you will see that we get 50 grams as well. We then have a battery off the DJI Mini 5 Pro. If I test it on my small scales, you can see we're coming in at just under 70 grams, 69.78. Because this one doesn't quite have that same resolution, you can see that it is rounding it up to 70 grams, but that is absolutely fine. That is what we would expect. And then finally, we have the DJI Osmo 360. DJI's own website states that this weighs 183 grams. So if I pop it on the big scales, you can see it comes in at 183 grams. If we then combine those 3, so 183 plus 70 plus 50, and you will see that we are coming in at exactly 203 grams, the exact combination of these individual devices. So based on all of that, we can start looking at testing our weights. So we have my Mini 5 Pro. We've got no SD card in this. There's no additions. So we've just got the props, camera, no ND filters, beer aircraft. And if we pop mine onto the scales, you can see that we're coming in at 252 grams. Mine is over that 149.9, 3 grams over at 252. If we now also start looking at the batteries, because this is where things do get quite interesting, whilst DJI is saying that there is a plus minus 4 gram tolerance, what I can tell you is, in my opinion, that tolerance is not in the batteries, and I'm going to talk about that tolerance a bit more later on, because frankly I think it's nonsense. However, if we just take a look at our batteries, popping them on the smaller scales one at a time, we have 69.81 on battery 1, popping that onto scale 2, 70.06, so 0.2 of a gram difference. 69.81, again, 0.2 of a gram between them. Two batteries very close, and one battery 0.2 of a gram different. What I can tell you is it's my personal belief that the variance that DJI are talking about is not going to be in the batteries. So the real question then is, where is it? When it comes to the Mini 5 drone itself, there is no question that DJI haven't put in an incredible amount of effort, not only to build us the best possible small drone, but keep the weight down. It isn't like they've gone and just made this heavy for no reason. They have gone to great lengths inside, and I showed this in the teardown, to reduce weight. But they've also done some really strange things as well, and it makes you wonder what was going on in the testing of this drone with regards to some features. So for instance, we know this drone has that 1-inch sensor, amazing to see on this platform. We've got LiDAR, 4 sensors, front and rear object sensing. You've got your visual positioning system down below. You've got your light. It's got all of the smart capabilities, and DJI have given us more in this drone in every possible way. They have kept it as light as they can with the plastics. They are strong. They feel rigid, but they are not overly heavy. They have reduced weight all over the place in this drone. In the teardown, I showed you there's a new type GPS antenna. Rather than using a traditional ceramic patch on a PCB, there's now a more strip antenna along the top, similar to what is used in the Neo, but it isn't the same antenna. It's got much better performance. They've even gone as far as to remove metal shielding off the main PCB. In all DJI products, you usually have metal cans to stop RF noise and interference. Whilst it still has the can, they've capped them off with foil tape rather than actual metal, again, trying to reduce weight. They've gone to great lengths, but then they've done strange things, because in the teardown, we found this drone has quite a big speaker inside, located just behind the camera down there, just like the speaker in the DJI Neo. However, there needs to be a speaker in the DJI Neo because you're able to control that drone without a remote controller. This drone doesn't have that function. That speaker is used for the Neo to be able to talk back to you and tell you what it's doing. However, the Mini 5 Pro doesn't have that functionality. There is an extra button on the side here as well, which is used for quick share, and it makes you wonder if early versions of this drone was intended to have that automated flight without a remote controller functionality. You've got the speaker in there, you've got this button on the side, but DJI then later removed it. It is very strange. That speaker itself, with its screws, weighs about 1.8 grams. Whilst that isn't all of the weight over mine's roughly 3 grams, as you've seen. It goes a long way, and if you were to remove that speaker, remove that button and its cable, maybe a few other tweaks, this drone would be coming much closer to that 250 gram mark. Now, obviously, people are asking questions on if there's anything they can do to try and get their drone lighter with that speaker. People have asked me, can they leave it out? And the answer to that is yes, it will work without it. I did test, but I do not recommend you take it apart to get that speaker out. You will end up damaging it. It's simply not worth it. I did see some other posts of someone saying they removed all the stickers of their drone and they got it below 250 grams. That's complete nonsense to me. There are 4 stickers on this drone externally for the screws, and you've got the C0 sticker. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Just to show why I think that's complete and utter tosh, I'm going to weigh one of the stickers. So we're going to put my 50 gram test weight on my scales. There we go. I'm going to pop off that one. That is one that I had already taken off. We're going to drop it on the scales. It weighs 0.03 grams. So you're going to save 0.03, 0.06. You might get 0.1 of a gram between all 4 stickers. Even with the C0 one, there is no way in hell you are saving even half a gram of weight by removing that, and that. It's just not happening. You see stuff online and the term I'll use is you shouldn't believe everything you see is the term I'll use. So the reality is, no, there really isn't anything that you can do on this drone to save weight. As I've said earlier, I don't believe you're going to see great variance in these drones with regards to weight. As I've shown on the battery, mine are all within 0.2 of a gram. Whilst I think there will be some variance on the aircraft, I'm suspicious that pretty much all of them are going to be over, because there is nowhere in here you're finding 3 grams. As I showed, to remove any weight, that speaker was almost 2 grams. You've got to start physically removing stuff from inside this drone to get the weight down. Thermal paste stickers, it ain't getting it below that 250 mark. That stuff might come together to a gram if you start pulling stickers and stuff off, but there ain't many places that you're going to be able to remove stuff to get it below the 250. As I showed in the teardown, there are stickers here, 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 and here. They don't weigh 3 grams. 3 grams is quite a lot, as I've showed you already earlier in the video. But that doesn't mean we won't see a sub 250 of this drone in the future. I think with all the negative press DJI have had, they might start doing something to try and get the weight down. They haven't got a lot of choices. That speaker's going to get them nearly 2 grams. However, there ain't a lot they're going to be able to do, but they might be able to just do it and get it below that sub 250 category. Now, when it comes to DJI's marketing on this, we can't actually say anything negative in the sense of they've lied to anyone, because they haven't. They have told us up front, 249.9 plus minus 4 grams. It is within that tolerance. It is C0 rated. Nowhere have they said it weighs sub 250. I, though, don't buy that plus minus 4 gram nonsense for 1 minute. Whilst I've seen pictures online, don't believe any of these are going to be below 250 grams today. To take 3 grams out of this is a lot. I've already showed that. You've literally got to remove components. There is not 3 grams in thermal paste, a little bit of tape, or plastic tolerance. That is enough weight that DJI need to make changes to get rid of it. And I suspect, even though some people's scales might show below, the reality is, I suspect every one of these today is over the 250 grams. I don't expect much more than a gram and a half of tolerance. I am certainly not expecting 3 to 4 grams of tolerance. I think DJI know this, and they are using that plus minus as a get out of jail card to give them that sub 250 label on the spec, but they're not promoting it. They've just put it there, and it's then down to you, the user, to make sure that you're within compliance. So, how does this affect you? Well, it depends, obviously, what country you're in. The first one we're going to talk about is the US, because obviously there's been a lot of noise about the USA, but there is one big thing that everyone has missed about the US, and that is the fact that this drone isn't sold in the US. It is not designed for the US. It is not listed on the DJI US website. It is not on the DJI store in the US. DJI are not selling the Mini 5 Pro in the USA, and as a result of that, the weight is irrelevant because it is not a product designed for the US market. For the UK, things are a little bit more complicated. However, it isn't actually terrible. Today's rules in the UK are that the drone must weigh under 250 grams, and obviously this doesn't. However, the UK is transitioning to align itself with the European system with the CE markings, and as a result of that, in less than 100 days, we will be in the CE marking system, and the drone is C0 marked, therefore it is compliant. Now, Sean at Geeksvana has been talking about this, and he's actually going to have some new content on this specifically for the UK next week, so please do consider checking him out. But the reality is right now, we are not expecting anyone to face any problems as a result of this being a little bit overweight in the UK, and at the start of next year, all of this problem goes away. With regards to the EU, well, the drone has a C0 rating. It is classified, therefore it complies with C0 and gives you all of the benefits that C0 rating drone gives you. And again, from an EU perspective, you have nothing to worry about. When it comes to who actually is affected by this, well, Canadian users is one of them. I believe Singapore is going to be another as well. Whilst Canadian users aren't likely to have their drones weighed, my understanding is things are a lot more restrictive in the likes of Singapore. So countries where this drone is sold, like Canada and others, is potentially a problem that it's overweight, because those countries, like the UK, currently has a 250 gram limit. But whilst the UK is transitioning into a new system, those countries are not. And as a result of that, the drone being over 250 grams is a problem. There is no flexibility here. It is basically 250 is a problem, sub 250 isn't. Now, obviously, there are going to be some questions around things like insurance. How do you get affected in that? Early feedback that I've been told from some of the providers in the UK is that they are fine with this. They're not going to be looking to refuse claims because the drone is 1 or 2 grams over. It's within regulation, therefore it will be fine. So really, in the end, this is largely a non-issue. The product isn't even sold in the US, but I'm not saying there aren't countries that don't get affected. But don't be surprised to see if DJI don't do some tweaks here on future production to get it under the 250 grams. I think there's been an oversight here, and with all of the negative press and noise, I think a Vision 2 production could end up coming in under that 250 sweet spot. So, the new Mini 5 Pro, the beginning of a refocusing of DJI's efforts, a drone for the European market, not the US. The reality is, DJI is turning its efforts to the European. This is C0 rated. It complies with that. It is certified for that. The UK will fall into line with that as well. And whilst DJI is still going to need to make some tweaks maybe for some markets, the reality is, it's game over for the US, and DJI know that. Whilst there are lots of people in the US who have looked at this drone and gone, why isn't it complying with this? The truth is, you don't matter when it comes to this drone because it was never intended for you. The situation DJI find themselves in right now is this drone will not be officially sold in the US as far as I'm aware. And in fact, it may never be. Depending on what happens at the end of this year, DJI may be permanently banned. This drone may never be a product that was ever intended for US shores. And whilst there's no question people won't be able to go out and import one or buy one, the reality is its focus is no longer about the US market because DJI doesn't have a choice. Their head is turned to Europe because that is the market where they are now able to sell products without restriction, and the US remains a market that is hostile to them, and it doesn't seem like that is going to be changing anytime soon. It is going to be incredibly interesting to see where all of this lands in the next few months, because the reality is today, DJI could be banned in December, and it isn't just as simple as new products. We could see anything happen with the current government in the US, and the reality is for US users, you now have to start looking at what is available in your region officially if you want to be able to fly a compliant aircraft, or you're going to have to try and import one from Canada or other places. People are still going to buy them, but what DJI are not going to be doing now is making the US the center of the product specification as a result of features and regulation. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to throw with you one last conspiracy, and that is, I think this has all been a big, major cock-up by DJI, and they never intended this drone to be over 250. Whilst I have said this is a drone for the European market, I still think it should have been below 250, and I believe DJI probably thought it would be, and they've ended up making a load of them, initial production batches completed, and loads of the drones are coming out overweight. That puts them in a very difficult position, and then they've moved on to then changing the marketing material to add in this tolerance number that they didn't have before. As a result of that, that now also gives them an out in the future when there's a second batch of these. If they tweak something to get the weight below 250 grams, no one can complain about it because they have already told you on their website that there's a plus minus tolerance. And as a result of that, DJI can then fix their problem for, say, Canadian and other users, but then not have to replace all of the drones that they've already shipped. The truth is, it really is a non-issue in the end, and for most people, you will be able to continue as you are. As I've said already, in the UK, you'll be fine. You're fine in Europe. It's just some specific areas, and DJI will quietly fix this, and then suddenly it'll turn up under 250 grams. Now, that's it from me on this one. I hope you have found it useful. If you have, as I said at the start, I want to say, please check out my Teardown, which was sponsored by Great Arrows Drone Club. There is a link to that in the description as well. That's a 2-hour video where we do the full unboxing of the Fly More kit, and then we get inside this thing to have a look at what's going on. We even did things like get it under the thermal camera as well, and it gives you a good idea of exactly how this drone is put together. If you'd like to support the channel, please do consider checking out the links to my Patreon as well as buy me a coffee. It is only through the support of my patrons I'm able to make content on this channel. And if you'd like to support us, please do consider checking it out. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who supports the channel. We would not be able to do this without your support. Anyway, that's it from me. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Stay safe, and I will speak to you soon. Woo!